lights and cameras and mirrors.
Oh, hello, it's your boy, Auteur Deluxe, the Sundance Kid. Sundance is upon us. I was able to catch a couple of these movies, I think 7, 8, or 9, somewhere in that range, and one of them I saw was Coda. This movie is getting a lot of buzz, a lot of hype. It got picked up by Apple Plus. This will be a spoiler-free review. I'm actually lucky I got to see this one. I caught it on a second screening, and some of the second screenings, or I think all the second screenings, have like a finite amount of seats, even though they are on demand, which is kind of frustrating, but at the same token, I understand it because they want to prevent piracy, but they also want to get these films out there, and because of the COVID-19 virus, we can't go to them. So I get it. But that being said, I am very lucky I was able to catch this one before it maxed out, and I wouldn't be able to see it until it came out on Apple Plus. Anyway, Coda, 2021, directed by Cian Heder, not sure how you say that, starring Emilia Jones and Marlee Matlin, who you may know. She's a hearing impaired actress who caught a lot of shrapnel at the Trump roast. And it also stars some lesser known deaf actors. This film follows Ruby. She is a teenage girl. She is a Coda, child of deaf adult. So she is kind of torn asunder between helping out her family. She's the only hearing person in her family, so she does a lot of translating, American Sign Language, but at the same time she wants to pursue a music career. Ironic how that works out. And this film just kind of follows her journey as she has to decide between those two things. And you guys know me by this point. Hopefully you know my taste enough to know that I like feel-bad films. I like a lot of Michael Haneke, Todd Solondz, some Bresson. I like a slow burn. I like long shots. I like people dying slowly. I like upsetting films, disturbing films. I like films that make you uncomfortable. I like films that cover taboos. That being said, this is not one of those films. I got wind pretty early into the film that this was going to be really, really, really feel good. And that being said, I loved it. It was feel good and crowd pleasing in a way that even me, even an old fuddy-duddy like me, ended up really liking it. This movie, the word that comes to mind, and ironically in COVID-19, is infectious. This movie is so feel good and so emotionally kind of light and fun that it is a very feel good movie. And normally, I don't normally get hooked for a feel good movie. That's very rare. But this one got me. This one definitely got me. It does family dynamics very well. You kind of shoulder the weight of this decision that Ruby has to make, and you're being torn from both sides, and you really don't want to let your family down, but you want to pursue your dreams, and that is portrayed very well from a lot of different perspectives. This is also a very funny movie, and it's very funny. It's very refreshing to see funny parents in a movie as someone who has a very funny mom. Too many times, more often than not, I see a lot of films where very stuffy parents. I watched Ordinary People and Mary Tyler Moore as the kind of a-hole mom. Even something like Christine, the John Carpenter movie where a car kills people. His parents are so against him getting a car. That's just so foreign to me. My parents are very down to earth and have always been very accepting and just kind of loose, kind of blue. So it's refreshing to see such a funny family, such a down-to-earth family. And I will say that humor is used with a lot of the awkwardness of having deaf parents and portraying what it's like to have deaf parents. There's a scene at the very beginning, this is not a spoiler, where they go to pick her up and they are blasting rap music and she's just visibly embarrassed. And it's funny, and I think humor is a really good tool. When I worked in a cancer clinic, you had to use humor, and those were some of the funniest people I'd ever met, because that's a coping mechanism. That's a tool you use with something like an ailment, with something like a disability, and you do have to kind of tread carefully. But this film, it really did that in a lighthearted way. It wasn't like a stuffy film just kind of tiptoeing in the minefield, not trying to offend anybody. It wasn't like self-congratulatory, the fact that it had deaf actors and was dealing with deaf issues. It was just very lighthearted and very authentic, even though it is this heightened feel-good setting, but I feel it was authentic. I don't know. I don't live that life. I'm not deaf. And it was a very sweet movie. It's one of those movies where it's going to be my new go-to for like, if you don't like this movie, I don't know what's wrong with you. And finally, the editing. There were some very specific choices in this film where the sound drops out, so it kind of puts you in the shoes of the deaf actors. And there's particularly a scene towards the end, I will not spoil, that the editing manipulates the audience into feeling different emotions, and it's masterful. It's some of the best I've ever seen. The fact that you're portraying these points of view that are can be very alien to a hearing person, and the way they did it was very good. It was very emotional. It really used the medium of film very well. It wouldn't have worked as like a story on the page. It wouldn't have worked as, I don't know, a fucking podcast. But as a film, it really used all the tools and used the medium of film to be effective in storytelling. And I think that's when films are great, that's what they do. And again, if you don't like it, I don't know who hurt you. This is a film that I will be recommending to literally everybody. Aside from some language things, I would say it's a family movie. It's great. It's really good. I know I'm kind of overselling it, overhyping it, completely falling into the hype. I don't normally do that. But this one is that good, and it is so non-offensive in any way. You could put this on for anybody and they will be at least entertained, if not moved. So thank you. That was my review for Coda. More Sundance stuff coming soon. Follow me on Instagram, follow me on Letterboxd, follow me on Twitter, follow me on TikTok, and follow me on Facebook. Thank you so much. Stay hydrated and have a great day.
We'll be right back.